woke up, really. Ooh, Miss Shumi, Miss Shumi, Miss Shumi. Mogi, 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 mogi. I'm gonna be eating again in this video. I don't want to see myself. Should I? Is the color okay? Oh, ooh. Sweating. I don't have any shirt beneath me, underneath this. Beneath me? Underneath this, I'm too lazy to go to my room and change. Whatever. So that post above was written exactly a year ago, which I hope you read. It's kind of a downer, and it was never quite finished nor published. I remember hesitating on whether or not I should publish it, and I kept trying to figure out the best way to approach such a dreadful topic, and I was writing it and deleting it, rewriting it, deleting it and rewriting it, and eventually I couldn't handle it. So I abandoned the post altogether in the end. Now that I look back on it, I feel like it's better to put it out there so people can read it and maybe identify with it. Who knows? It took me 3 years to finally realize I was depressed. So if someone from my circle of friends figure him or herself out from what I wrote, I guess it's worth it. So that post is in its full glory, unedited, except from a few grammatical mistakes. And you can sort of see why I stopped writing, like specifically why and when. I'm not ashamed of my depression. Not really. It was a bit of a nightmarish period of time for me. And reading back on it now for reference on the video, it's kind of making my head extremely dizzy. So if you feel like shit and have been feeling like shit for a long ass time, I'll tell you one thing, it gets better. But it is up to you whether or not you want to stay shitty, so get your ass from your stinky ass bed that you've been lying around for days and weeks, maybe months, maybe even years. It was 3 years for me. It can happen. I feel like people don't usually know that there's an underlying cause for depression, and that the most common misconception is that it is controllable since it's in the brain, right? You can control your thoughts, so why should you be depressed, right? Wrong. People usually say, oh, you're depressed? Just be positive, be grateful. What a load of bullshit. It's as if saying, oh, you have a stomach ache? Just be positive, it'll go away, you'll feel better. The brain is as much of an organ as a liver or a heart or a stomach, and it can get sick just like any other organ. It can be out of your control, but it is just as treatable. So get medical attention, proper medical attention. I feel so proper sitting on the table and like giving people advice and shit. Hi, this is Nanka's Corner. The cause for my own depression was hormones. It turns out that my hormones were going back to crazy and I was producing more male hormones than female hormones, which didn't really come as a surprise to some. It's apparently been like that from a young age, so no wonder it took a toll on my mental health after all those years. The human body is a very fragile system. If one thing is unbalanced, it can throw the whole system off. I mean, it's all chemicals in there. So makes sense. My period was never regular, sometimes even taking 5-6 months for it to come. And whenever I visit the gynecologist, whenever I visit the gynecologist, they always dismissed me saying I was still young for my period to become regular. And I got sick of hearing that thing over and over again, so I kind of blew up saying, I am fucking 21 years old. I've only had 2 periods for the past year. Figure this shit out. And that's when I found out I could grow out a beard. They basically told me that I have an option to take estrogen pills, and if I opted to stay au naturel, I'll grow facial hair and I might stay depressed. So, guess which option I took? The beard one, of course. Just kidding. But I think I would actually pull off a beard, like Little Malka with a beard. Hello, ladies. I started taking the pills, and obviously it took a while for my body to get used to it. I mean, I was super emotional all the goddamn time. I was crying over the most mundane shit. But after 2 courses, or months, I definitely felt a difference. I started to feel like my old self. I'm not saying that the pills and the pills only helped me get out of my depression, but I felt like it was kind of the kick I needed to jolt myself out of my not so funky state. Aside from the pills, I constantly did yoga. I started doing yoga way before I started taking my pills. It helped me a bit, but it was not that effective. But I stuck with it, hoping for the best. And even if it didn't help my mental state much, it helped me too, so not a total loss. It was after I got used to my new hormonal system that I started to truly appreciate the benefits of yoga. I mean, I felt pretty awesome after every session. It helped me stay positive, which I haven't felt that much in the past few years. When you're depressed, your body aches all over because you're in this like crumpled state. You're like, no, I feel like shit. No, I don't want to get up from bed. No, I don't want to do anything. And yoga takes care of that uncomfortable soreness with all the stretching it does. And on top of yoga, I meditated. Strangely, people give you weird looks when you say, oh, I meditate. Just don't do that. Don't judge. Anyways, I always meditated right after my yoga. And when people think about meditating, they think you push away thoughts. Like you're supposed to sit in this cross-legged position and you close your eyes and try not to think of anything, and then you're like, But mindful meditating is so much more than that. Rather than pushing away thoughts, you more like embrace it. I use this app called Headspace, and I've been recommending it to almost everybody that was having problems. I was kind of like this unpaid salesperson. So a few friends of mine tried it out, and some of them reported back saying during their first or second session, they cried their eyes out. And it shows that we all have this hidden, tucked away thoughts and feelings and emotions, but we're too busy caught up in our daily lives that we don't know it exists. Eventually, all of those shit stack up and it makes you feel super shitty and you don't know why. So with mindful meditating, all those ugly things came up to the surface and people responded to it by feeling this overwhelming mix of emotions. You're feeling those hidden thoughts and emotions and you're acknowledging their existence, you're accepting them, and then you gently move on from it. After several sessions, you understand yourself more. Headspace is kind of the shit. Me personally, I've been using it for almost 6 months now, and whenever I meditate, I literally feel positive energy surging and running around my body. Like this I feel this tingling sensation, like goosebumps, and I can't help but smile. So there's your testament. If you're still skeptical about meditating, there's been loads of studies proving that they improve memory, increase the gray matter in the brain, and decrease stress. And there's this ASAP Science video explaining all of that. I'll link it somewhere so you can watch it. Oh, and the tip I'd like to give you on sticking with yoga is that before you go to sleep, you place your yoga mat right next to your bed. So in the mornings, you wake up, just roll off your bed and drop onto your yoga mat. You're more likely to stick with it if you put these triggers in place for yourself. And it's a way to wake up as well instead of checking emails and social media. You know, yoga, meditation. That's a really nice way to wake up. One thing I'd like to address on the topic of depression is that people have this perception that feeling depressed feels like feeling sad or lonely all the time. It's kind of like that, but to me it was more like lack of emotions. I didn't feel any kind of happiness. I didn't feel super sad. I did have weak moments such as anxiety, self-doubt, and feeling lost, and those times where I just cried my eyes out for no apparent reason whatsoever. I guess the best way to describe it is that I stopped feeling complex emotions. The old me found happiness and satisfaction from the simplest things. That was kind of the principle I grew up on, to find and see beauty in everything. But I couldn't anymore, no matter how much I tried. And I felt really lost. I just didn't know who I was anymore. So after realizing I was depressed, the first thing I thought of doing was going back to my foundations and figuring out who I was at the core. And without sounding super cheesy, I always thought that I was born into my family to help them out. My core was helping out my family, and that was my main focus over the summer, and I dedicated my time to them. I offered them help. I tried to put their needs in front of mine, and I'm pretty goofy and silly, so during hard times I would make horrible jokes, and during good times I try to make them better with the horrible jokes. Seeing someone smile and calm and rested because of something you did, it feels great. I felt gratitude and a sense of purpose after feeling nothing for all those years, and I feel like it boosted my will to overcome my depression as well. So helping others out selflessly could make you feel great and could have a big impact on your mental being. And there's always someone who needs help. So let's help each other out. Karma, that's my kind of karma. So to give you an update on my state of mind is I can confidently say that I am happy. I'm not an anxious mess anymore. I am confident. I'm thinking clearly. I have so much better concentration. I remember things better. My sleep schedule is in great shape and I don't feel tired at all. I'm reading more and I started drawing again, and I'm active on a daily basis. I'm going jogging, for crying out loud. I am very proud of where I am now, and if that hollow, empty feeling crawls back up to stick around, which could happen at any point in the future, I am confident enough to know that I can overcome it again. It did come back for a week 2 months ago, but I overcame it. I guess you could say I know myself better now. I'm happy. Ooh, I almost forgot. P.S. I wanted to share this weird moment I had back in August. What it was this pivotal moment when I realized I was on the right track on becoming good old Namka again. and I would like to thank Nujabes for that. My family and I were on this road trip, and my family was very excited about it, and my parents, my sister, my nephew were all laughing and talking in the car. I wanted to join, but for some reason I couldn't stop listening to Nujabes on my headphones. And then I suddenly felt happiness. For the first time in years, pure joy. And it was overwhelming, so overwhelming that I cried. Happy tears. That soulful music captured the beautiful scenery of the countryside and my family laughing so perfectly that I felt it, all of it. And Namco was back. Obviously, I couldn't let my family know that their young one was suddenly crying in the back seat of the car. It will raise a lot of questions. So I sneakily muffled my sniffling and sneakily wiped away my tears, like pretending I was fine. No, come on, you're so. No. Anyways, I like to say that Nujabes changed my life. So corny. So, yeah. I guess this is it. Bye. Let's be happy.